it's not, and I'm not going to do this because it's not fair to name any schools, colleges. It's not fair for Kelsey. But when you go to visits, what kind of stuff do you look for when you walk onto a campus? Obviously, you look at, of course, basketball is why they want her there. But there's probably more that goes into it than just, let me see your gym. There's probably more, and you've done it, you've had the boys. Talk about what you look for as a father when you take your daughter on a college campus. For anybody out there listening, this one right here will get her fair share.
We'll get her fair
Celina,
share, exactly.
But, talk about, as a parent, educate the parents that haven't been through it. What do you look for when you go to a college campus on a visit?
Well, one of the interesting things about that is Kelsey and Chelsea were very cognitive when on the approach of Kevin and Cam's recruitment. So they were able to go into a couple visits and with that. And the one thing that Kevin and Cam told Kelsey and Chelsea is make sure you find out about the social life. What is it like on Friday night? Is it a suitcase campus where everybody goes home on the weekend? Is it a campus where it's kind of open and friendly? Because my sons, they had to deal with some really, really life-altering situations last year that really kind of, could have hardened their heart towards some people, but because of the way that my wife and I have raised them, that they are very open to understand that some people don't always view you, like you should be viewed. So, and they always tell Kelsey and Chelsea to ask a ton of questions, ask about the cafeteria. What kind of food is it? Because it's going to be different from home.
I'm down with that. Yeah, I'm down with that. I want to know how good the food is myself.
And ask about the room air conditioning. This a lot of different things that you kind of take for granted once you're away from home. A lot of these things you kind of take for granted because you've been at home for 16, 17 years, and all of a sudden now, where do I go get a sandwich at? Normally you can walk down to the refrigerator. It isn't that way at 11, 12 o'clock in the morning. So do I have some snacks? Or, is mom and them going to be able to send me a care package? Where the mailbox is at? It's just different things like that that we've been able to talk to them about. And the other thing is from a academic standpoint, what are some of the support services that you have? Are there tutors there? Is it computer labs? Are there computer labs in your dorm? Will there be tech support? Like for instance, where my one son is at, they have very, very little cell reception. We'll be talking to him on the phone and the call would drop. And I said, so there's things like that. Are there other opportunities out there? And then when you get to talking about your major, because both of them want to major in two totally opposite things. What are the support services? What are the people that are there that can deal with internships and stuff like that? So, and it was funny because one of my kids at Taft signed to play at Oregon, and one of his things was he wants to be in business, or he wants to actually work for Nike. Well, who happens to be one of Oregon's biggest supporters is Phil Knight, who's an alumni of Oregon. So, he's been able to kind of forge a relationship and be able to talk about internships. So he was able to talk about that with Kelsey, in terms of being able to start to develop those kind of ideas and mindsets. But, and then from a sports standpoint, Kelsey and Chelsea have been able to identify that they don't want to go to a school they want to be able to play at a school that's going to be a wide open style of play. They're going to be able to get up and down the court, and they're going to play defense. I mean, that's the one thing I do like about them is they want to play the whole game. They want to defend it. They want to rebound it. They want to pass it. They want to score it. And that's the kind of style of play that they want to be part of when they make a decision for a school.
You look at, and they're two totally different players, like you said. Everybody, we talked about Chelsea's improvements. Her numbers are going up. Her, quote, national ratings are going up.
Right.
Kelsey's already at the pinnacle of those kind of ratings. And, and those guys know the game. Mark Lewis and Brett McCormick, Dan Olson, they all know the game, and you know them.
Right.
So, and they're very respectful people.
Yeah, they know.
But what can you say? Everybody knows about Kelsey, but tell us about Chelsea's game that maybe is different from Kelsey, and maybe just if you're out there listening for the first time, and maybe you haven't seen either one of them. Maybe you're from a little Division IV school in Miami County, Ohio, or something. Talk about both of their games and maybe how they differ, and what attraction that they both would bring to the next level.
When you talk about Chelsea, Chelsea is a lunch pail player. She's, like I said earlier, she's a stat stuffer. She's going to do all the intangibles, and she's going to do them well. From the standpoint of being able to guard your best player. She can guard anywhere from a 1 to a 5, and then she can rebound. And she's tough. She's physical. And then sometimes I think what's really, really important is the fact that when she gets the ball, she can turn into a guard on the floor. When she turns into a guard on the floor, in transition, now you're gonna get easier baskets. And that kind of comes from the way that the way that we play at Taft High School. Any one of our kids who gets the ball, they push it up the floor. We automatically go into our spacing ideas, and from there in our concepts, and then from there we just kind of play. But that influence has really influenced them. And Chelsea has been really, really cerebral about the process. Early on, she was more consumed with the other things, the cheerleading. She still loves the cheer. She still loves the tumbling and all that other stuff. She's a girly girl. She likes all the purses and the Gucci handbags. She loves all that stuff. And with that being said, she's now been able to kind of understand what this process is about. And I tell you, one of the things that kind of really changed both of them is that my high school kids, we played in the greatest high school tournament that you can play in for a kid. We played in the city of Palm down in Fort Myers, Florida, and that was essentially the pre-NBA tournament for kids who were in high school, because watching those kids play, it really gave you a great appreciation for how basketball is played at a high level. And beyond, with my wildest approach, and I could not believe that Chelsea was so attentive to what it was. She was sitting there in the gym after we were playing and watched games, and she started to identify with some players and what they needed to do, and what she needed to do to get her to raise her level of play. And Kelsey the same way. She befriended a kid. He's from Philadelphia, and he could flat out play, going to UConn, and he can play. And she was asking him. She was in awe of him and how he handled the ball. And she asked him, "What do you do?" And he says, "After I get done with everything, I train for an hour and a half." It was a team up from there. They were from Gil St. Bernard. They shoot the three, unbelievable. They're from New Jersey. Chelsea fell in love with their style of play. They come, and one kid, he gets 1,000 makes a day. They have a gun. He has a gun in his backyard in their garage, and kids shoot. So she comes back talking about, "Can we get shots up every day?" So from there, those influences have really changed Chelsea's game. When you get to talk about Kelsey in terms of her being the type of player she is, she's had so many great influences, and you really just starting with her brother, being able to handle the basketball and being dynamic with the ball and being able to play the game a certain way. That has been a really good influence on her. Yeah, she plays like a boy because she's been trained by boys, and she's always played, when you get to talking about them playing the AAU and all the other things, they both started playing basketball when they were 4. Kelsey's first game was in a 4th grade boys game. And I tried to discourage her. She'll get mad when I tell this story, but I tried to discourage her. She had the jersey on, jersey down to her feet. I said, "No, I don't want you to play. You can't play." And then she was looking at me, "Daddy put me in." I said, "No, it's Kevin King. You can't play in the 4th grade boys. You can't play in the boys game." "Now, Daddy put." So I said, "All right, go ahead and go in." And my wife looked at me like, "What you doing?" Because it was like 2 minutes in the 3rd quarter. It was a back and forth ball game. It was a really good ball game. And, I said, "Well, I just want her to play. I want her to see how she's going to do." So I'm putting in there thinking I'm going to discourage her. Well, what happened? She gets a steal. She gets a steal ball. She steals the ball from the kid. Everybody's laughing at her first because, she's short, jersey. She gets the ball, go down and knocks down a 15-foot jump shot at age 4. And I said, "Oh, my goodness." And at that point in time, I knew she was a different type of player then. And from there, I stopped trying to discourage her from, focusing so much on basketball. And then from there, I just kind of opened up the gym from there for her. And, from there, she just kind of took off. So then her influence has always been a boy's influence, transporting the basketball, playing the game fast, trying to score a bunch of points. And from that influence, she's been able to kind of influence her players, her other teammates to work out daily, get in the gym, get the ball up and down the floor. Let's try to score some points. Let's share the basketball, and let's kind of play this game to where it's enjoyable for everybody.
That's pretty exciting, and the fact that you have so blessed to have the whole, like you mentioned, everybody involved. It keeps people together because everybody has one big common bond, other than family, of course. But it's something that everybody likes to do. And believe it or not, my son is never going to get me to like video games, so we're not going to have that bond I can play right now. But that is, you're really blessed to have some kids that really that want to be great players. And before I let you go, I know it's getting kind of later, but give me just one quick talk, your quick thought about Princeton girls as they make a run Columbus.
They have a chance, but anytime you get to talking about in a state tournament, there's 8 games. Those are the best 8 games in March. And you got to play each one of those games one at a time. You got to stay focused on those games. And the other thing is you got to be able to play your style of play. And I think that they're old enough now, and they went through enough ups and downs. They played against some great teams this year and last year. They met some frustration in a couple losses that they got this year. I understand that, there are other teams out there, so we have to now stay focused. So we got to come to practice every day. That's the first thing. Second thing is we got to buy into the team concept. Third thing is we got to learn to get stops. And if they can do that, I think they'll be fine. Because the interesting thing with this group of kids is that they're young group of kids, but they've always been champions. They've always played for a championship. Their pedigree allows them to be playing late in the day, late in the tournaments. So that thing right there is the one thing they have going for them. So being young, that kind of may fall by the wayside. But, Princeton has a legit shot as anybody else in this tournament to get it accomplished. Then it's like I said, it's always going to come down to who can get stops, who can make free throws, who can make layups.
Very good. Mark Mitchell, it's been tremendous. This is the first time I've gotten to speak with you on basketball, and I've learned a lot in just a half an hour. I'm truly blessed to have you here today. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. It's about 8:30. We're going to wrap the show up. I want to thank Celina for all her hard work. This young one here is going to be good.
She's going to be a great one. Anytime you get a chance to talk about a young kid like her and her dad, walking into this place, for anybody out there who's a fan of basketball, if you got a group of kids and they like basketball, my kids, we're coming over here for a field trip. This is one heck of a place. So my hat's off to Celina, her mom and dad, and I just hope that she continues to play the game the right way, work at it daily and enjoy the game. Don't let it consume you. You let it use you. Use the game to get yourself somewhere in life.
Very good. Until next Sunday night, 8 o'clock, we will take a look at the district tournament. Celina's going to read our sponsor, and then we're going to call tonight.
Taylor Logistics is a non-asset-based third-party logistics provider which handles all modes of transportation for world-class companies. If you are interested in becoming an exclusive or non-exclusive agent for Taylor Logistics, Cincinnati's most agent-friendly contract company, please visit their website at www.taylorlogistics.com for details. Taylor Logistics, your link in the supply company.